Okay, so welcome everyone as we are exploring the ExpertusONE mobile app today. So most of the time we will be spending in the mobile app. I'll show you a couple of features that we're referencing on a slide deck, just because some of them are hard to show in real time because they're more of an interactive nature. But that'll be the general format as we go, and at the end we'll obviously open up for questions. To keep those answers flowing. So with that, let's just go ahead and get started. So when we talk about mobile, right, mobile, as Gordon was just mentioning, really, mobile, right, is an important topic in today's world, right? I mean, I can almost guarantee, right, everybody in here probably has their cell phone or some other type of mobile device at arm's reach, right? It's there, it's with you, it's available. And it's really where our world is going today, right? You can't go to the airport, right, without having to use your mobile device. You know, going to the movies, right? Your tickets are all e-tickets now, right? So it makes sense, right, that that's where learning is also following. As Gordon mentioned, though, right, it's one of those things that it takes a lot of thought, right, to roll out within a company, whether it's because of any kind of security restrictions with devices, or just putting thought into, you know, actually getting your content, you know, being able to play and function on a mobile device. So what we're going to show you today is really how the ExpertusONE mobile app works. Hopefully get you a little bit excited about maybe what it is in store for you right in the future, and what you can expect for a mobile app in a learning management system. So essentially, the ExpertusONE mobile app, it really is used in conjunction with the ExpertusONE learning management system. So the entire suite of features that you would see for a learner in ExpertusONE, right, that's available in the ExpertusONE app as a learner. So you'll also see additional features in there for managers, for instructors, and even some for administrators. We do support on our app, just so you guys are aware, we support both iOS and Android. So those are available, those apps are available in the App Store for, you know, people to download. All right. So before I flip on the mobile app, just a couple of things here, kind of some background about kind of where we come from as far as the mobile and what we've kind of evolved here. We would consider ourselves a mobile-first company. So what we mean by that is, you know, we really work hard to bring innovative features, right, to the mobile app, really that forward-thinking perspective and having people get excited, right, about mobile. We want to be the ones to get people excited about mobile. Our entire app, it really is, everything is designed to be on mobile. So this is not what you're going to see. It's not just an app wrapper that contains, right, the interface or the LMS. It's not a website that's pulled up that's shrunken down on a browser, right? This is truly an app, right, that you can purchase out there in the App Store. Just another thing about kind of the mobile first is, you know, really for us, a lot of the times we'll find that features will come to our mobile app first, because it really allows for some of that fast movement, development, and deployment, and we want to get that out there to you guys today. So that's just a little bit about kind of our mentality of being mobile first. So with that, I'm just going to flip over here. So give me just a second, and I'm going to launch up the mobile app. So the way that we are going to present this today, this is going to be, I'm projecting my cell phone, so this is an Apple phone, and I'm going to project this through a projection app called AirServer. So sometimes when we share the screen, there's a little bit of lag, so I will be very aware of that. Okay. Hopefully, just double check that that's what you guys are seeing. Okay. All right. So this is the home page, the landing page of the mobile application. So when I logged into the mobile app, now we do support full authentication. So whether your company has single sign-on, right, whether you're using native authentication or whether you're using some mix, right, your mobile app will fully support that as well. So keep that in mind as far as right authentication goes. It doesn't make a difference to us as long as people are, entering their credentials in order to get into the site. But I am logged in as a user that has a few different functionalities, so there are a few different roles, and really that's just so we don't have to keep logging out and logging back in. But depending on your role is actually what you're going to see here on the home page. So my learners would see my catalog, my learning, and the analytics page. They actually have some learner analytics. My instructors see my classes, and my managers see the team. And everybody sees kind of the general interface, though, down at the bottom. So we'll go through all of that information. As we kind of start our tour today, we're going to start off from a learner perspective and talking about some of these learner features. So as far as the learner goes, right, I mentioned they have the full capability to access trainings and register for trainings from the mobile app, just as they would if they were using a desktop computer. So I'm going to click on Catalog, and this is going to bring me into my full catalog page. Right, so if you've ever seen ExpertusONE, right, it looks very similar to this, right, as far as the icons. You have the ability to register, right, scroll through the catalog. I have the ability to search up at the top. I can even, if I click the three little dots, right, I can move forward and I can even refine, what I'm looking for if I'm looking to filter through some different options here. So I can see full class details from this page, right, the type of class that I'm looking for. I even have the ability to very easily register for something. So for instance, if I come here and I see a class that I want to take, right, I can take business management skills. I can very simply click on the register button. It's letting me know I've registered for it before, but that's okay. So from here, I'm just getting a note, right, that the registration is successful, and I can actually launch this web-based training right from my catalog page. So it's all about, right, being easy to use for the learner. They shouldn't have to fumble around too much to understand what they're trying to do. From this perspective, right, and we also fully support commerce. So that's another thing, right? So there's a lot of people out there that go through and they sell their training, right? Having how many people purchase things on their mobile app, right, on their mobile device. That's a very, very common thing. So not having to switch to your desktop, right, in order to fully make a commerce transaction. So we can fully support that here, right? This will basically go through a workflow where my class has been added to my cart. And just so you can see here, right, it's very similar to what you would find whether it's on Amazon or any of those other popular sites, right, where you're purchasing things, whether it's fully supporting discount codes, multi-currency, right, all of that is available right within the mobile app. So it's an easy experience for the learner with a shopping cart experience that they hopefully have come to expect by now in today's world. All right, so I'm going to flip out of catalog, and we're going to go back to the home page. Okay, so now we looked at catalog. The other important thing for your learners, right, is their My Learning page. So in case you're unfamiliar with the ExpertusONE setup, the way that we categorize this, so catalog is the full list of classes that your learner has access to. It's basically their curated list of classes that they can potentially register for or be assigned. And then the My Learning section is really their central learning hub. It's where they're going to come and actually see the trainings that they have been assigned or they've registered for themselves. So on this page, I have access to see, so for instance, you're only seeing launch buttons here, right, because these are all trainings that I'm already registered for. So I do have the ability, for instance, to come in here and I can click on launch, And this is a video file, right? So this will, I can go ahead and watch this video right on my mobile device. Oops. 1 second, I'm just going to open up my computer. Close this. So it will open my my video file, or right, if this is a SCORM file, right, somebody has a long compliance training, right, that they have to take, they can come in here and very easily launch their compliance training, which I think brings up one of the probably most important features, which is the offline content launch. So essentially what happens, and I have a slide here, just so you can see here the offline sync and really how this works. So when we look at offline sync, essentially what the concept is, right, so everybody's on the go, everybody's moving. You're hopping on a train to get home from work, or you're hopping on a plane to go to a business meeting, right, across the country. You have 2 hours to travel, right, why not use that time to take training that you're required to take? So what learners can do is they have the ability to download the web-based and the video content. It's a pretty straightforward download, and hopefully you saw the download button. I will point it out in case you didn't see it. But they have the ability to download that content, and then when I fire up my device, when I am in the air, right, I can see here it's launching in offline mode. I can simply come here and launch my device, watch the video, or interact with the SCORM file. The neat thing with this, right, is that as soon as you connect back to the world, right, you step back off that plane, you're connected to Wi-Fi, as soon as you do that, your progress is syncing back. So for you as a learner, that's seamless, right? You sync back your progress, great. You can hop online, even on your desktop, and continue exactly where you left off. So it really allows that easy, straightforward, right, launching of content and being able to track your progress without losing any of that information and wasting time. And I know everybody likes things right immediately these days. So just so you can see here, right, as far as this is the download button, so it's really just a matter of tapping. I can't show you live because I would be taken offline, and I need to project my mobile device. Okay, so that's really how the learners work as far as connecting to these features. For your instructor-led trainings, there's also some neat things in here. So if somebody was headed to an instructor-led training, they could actually click into their class, and it connects to maps, right? You can navigate directly to the location. So some neat, right, I guess really what we come to expect from a lot of apps today, but bringing that into the world of learning and making things easy to use for the learner. So you can focus your energy elsewhere as far as, you know, instead of gathering your learning information. So let's go back here, continuing on our learner journey. We are going to take a look at analytics now. Now, keep in mind, I'm in here as a couple of different roles, so hence I have a lot of analytics in here. But really, these are visual graphics that allow a learner to kind of keep up with what they're doing. So one of them, for instance, this is my activity. And this kind of gives me a visual representation of what I have been up to over a certain period of time. So I'm just going to scroll back the from date so we can see some information. But basically, right, what you're seeing is a timeline view. I could tap into each one of those classes and find more information about how I did or what I was doing in those specific classes. So if I'm looking, you know, I'm having a review with my manager, right, and I want to be able to tell them what trainings I took over this year. I can very easily take a snapshot of that information and share that with people. Go back. I'm going to come down here to the overall comparison analytics. So overall comparison, I think this is a neat one. So I feel like a lot of the times in training, right, people have questions based on where they kind of stack up against other people, right? So when you're looking at, you know, am I taking more training than the rest of my company? Is, you know, my entire team taking more training than me? Basically, what this allows you to do is have the learner gain insights into kind of getting excited about driving their own training. So all these graphics in here are interactive. So meaning that if I click on this, so I can see, okay, here's what I completed. It looks like people are completing more training than I am. I'm going to click right on the graphic, and I'm going to find out what they're completing. So obviously just a small sample here, right, in our demo environment, but I can see that most people are taking this class as far as establishing leadership, right, and maybe that's something that I still need to take. So I have that ability to come in here and kind of get a deep dive. If I click on this, I could even register from right from here. So really, it's just another way to promote the classes that are available in your catalog and get people excited and intrigued and probably slightly competitive, right, as far as what's going on and what have other people been up to. So I think that's kind of a neat analytic there. So I'm going to go back. We're going to go back to the main page now. And let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the team view. So managers, right, all of our managers are on the go. Managers are doing 100 different things nowadays, right? They're trying to keep track of everything that's going on. And we really feel that the mobile app enhances their experience of really tracking what their team is doing. So what we've done is we've added this team module on here. So I'm going to click on team. And team really allows the manager to gain insight into their reports or even indirect reports, right? Maybe it's just people they have oversight over that they want to be able to have visibility on. But this allows them to track what their reports are doing. So for instance, I see that I have 10 reports here total. 6 of them are my direct reports. So 6 of them I'm really responsible for. So again, all these graphics are actionable. So I'm just going to click on this little green part here to say, show me my direct reports. Now, from here, I'm getting a full list of people that report directly to me. So there's a couple different things I can do here. If I want to look at a user's profile, so this might be some of the social aspects, right? I can simply click on the user and see, an overview, whether it's of their gamification, what she has for her descriptions, or even what she has specifically been asked to in the LMS as a whole. Maybe not just, her learning activity, but has she been in here updating her skills or whatever the case is, right? So I'd be able to see that full feed of activity. Go back here. I also have visibility into my direct reports enrollments. So if I click on enrollments, let's see if she has something in here. So I can see that she is currently only enrolled for one class. She has a status of enrolled, so it doesn't look like she's actually completed any training, right? So I can see her current status, so I'd be able to see if she enrolled for something, canceled something, did not pass something, right? I can see all of those different statuses in here, right, depending on the learner and what they're seeing. I also have the ability as a manager to come in and actually assign her learning. So maybe I think that Andrea needs to boost a little bit of her training, right? I can come in here and say, okay, we had our one-on-one. This is something you need to work on. I can come in here and very easily assign her training. And further, I have the option if I want to make it mandatory, right? So when you make something mandatory, usually implies a little bit more significance. Sometimes it will come with a notification, right? Maybe there's tracking on it. And I'll show you in a second what else you can do with mandatory training. But so I'm just going to click on yes. So now when Andrea logs in, when she went to her My Learning section, she would actually see that class right there available for her to take. It would be indicated as mandatory, and I as a manager could very easily track her progress as far as what she was doing there. So really for us, it's about making your managers' lives easier, right? Giving them all the tools that they need to have oversight into their employees and giving those at their fingertips, right, where they're already on their phone and already on their device and empowering them to do that. So let me go back for a second. We'll go back to this view. Now I just told you I was going to show you something about mandatory. So you see down here, right, a lot of the times many organizations have a requirement to track, right, compliance and mandatory trainings, right? Whether they're, regulatory trainings at your organization or Maybe it is general career progression that you require everybody on your team to take. Whatever the case is, more than likely there's some sort of mandatory training at your organization. Well, I can see right here, right, things aren't looking so great. I have 9 non-compliant reports, so I can come in here and I'm going to click on the graphic. Now, you see down below, it actually gave me some more information. So I can see the people that report to me, so I can come in here and see. Let's click on to see what Sarah has not registered for. So I can see here that she has 2 mandatory trainings that she has not yet registered for that she really is required to complete. What I can do as a manager from here, right, it's my job to make sure that my employees complete their training on time. I actually have the ability, you see this little email button, I can contact her. I can contact Sarah right from my mobile device. So this just actually pulled up my default email browser, right? So I can come in here and I can obviously edit that template, but I can very easily contact her without having to leave this mobile app at all. So again, about empowering them just to remind people easily and giving them all those tools for success. Let me go back here. Okay. All right, so we're going to go back to the home section here. A couple of things before we get into instructor, I just want to point out, probably relevant to both your managers as well as your learners. So down at the bottom, there's actually some quick options. So I, as a learner, can view my user profile. So that's that first little person button down there. I can also do things like shortcuts. So for instance, if I want to be able to see the highly rated training. So again, this is about driving your training, right, and getting people excited. User adoption, right, that's probably one of the biggest issues in training, and getting that training in front of people. So basically, we're packaging it in all of these different little snippets to try and get people to see it in different ways, right? So if people want to see what's great, what have other people recommended, I do have the full ability to come in here, right, and see, okay, business management skills, this is great. I can view descriptions, when it's actually offered. I have full access to that information to view all those different class listings. This one's offered in an instructor-led training. This one's offered in a video, in a web-based training, right? So I have full access to all of that information directly from the widget. So it all kind of connects back, and it's meant to be intuitive, right, as far as you know, clicking whether it's highly rated, the most popular classes, and then even down here you can see you have voice commands, which I think is pretty cool. So as far as if I'm a manager and I want to assign somebody training, I just showed you the long workflow. I could have very easily come here and said, assign Sarah business management class, and it would go ahead and make that assignment for her. So you do have the voice command, very Siri-like, right? If you've used Siri, there are certain voice commands that are built in, and you can certainly very easily access those as well from a learner perspective, from a manager perspective, from an instructor perspective. Okay. All right, and then let's look at your instructor view. So when we talk about instructors, I'm going to come over here to my classes. And my classes is really an instructor module. So this is a way, so think of people that are standing in front of a class or they're doing a virtual class. Think of this as a tool to help make their lives a little bit easier, right? So I can see right here there are currently 3 classes that I am scheduled for. So I have the ability to, you know, I can certainly click in and see more information, whether it's directions or how many people are enrolled. But I'm going to click on this little enrollment button. And from here, actually, let's go into the second one down. From here, I'm able to see everybody that is currently enrolled for the class, right? So when we talk about people that are currently enrolled for a class, right, we're talking about people that are we're actually planning on them showing up here in the classroom. One of what I think is probably one of the coolest features on the mobile app is presence sensing. Now, again, this is hard to show live because it deals with other people and kind of a social aspect as far as people walking into a room. But essentially the concept is that if Frank had, let's say Frank registered for this class and Frank had his ExpertusONE downloaded to his mobile device, as soon as he walked into the classroom and he has the GPS sensor on his phone, basically we would be able to sense that he is in the room, and what would happen is his name would pop to the top of the list, marking him as arrived. So we're literally marking his attendance, right, as he walks into the room based on the GPS on his phone. So a little bit different than doing roll call, right? So as far as having your mobile device do that all for you. Your instructors can also very easily mark attendance right from the desktop, or they can mark it even from the mobile app. Again, not a sign-in sheet, right? Instructors can easily see somebody come in, yep, that's Jack, and I can go ahead and mark that he has arrived. So for the instructors, I really think this is a valuable tool, right, as far as particularly people that are doing instructor-led training, right? You're going from merging that traditional learning style of learning in a classroom with technology, and it's just about generating that new excitement and adding some of those special features in to get people excited. With that, your instructors, right, so let's say we go through the class, and at the end of the class I want people to take a survey. That's a long process, right? I got to hand out all the surveys, make sure everybody passes them all in. What I actually can do is ask everybody to take out their mobile devices, and I can come here as an instructor, and I'm just going to click these three little dots up here, and I can go ahead and I can open the survey for the class. What that would do is everybody would get a push notification on their phone, and they would have a pop-up and a survey that they could take in real time, and we could get real live, feedback if you wanted to share that with your instructors, or they could see actively, who's actually taken these surveys. So they can do that all in real time, without having to make sure that everybody hands them in, or even taking the results from a piece of paper, right, and adding them to the computer, because that's most of the time what many people have to do. So that's just another neat feature for your instructors. Now, both your instructors and your managers, they do have access to additional analytics. I'm just going to do the shortcut from here. So you see, right, you saw I had some additional options over here. So for instance, if I wanted to see a survey report, right, to see who's actually completed the survey, I could enter in a specific class, right, and I could very easily report on that information and kind of drill down a little bit deeper, right, every time I'm clicking in. So, right, again, very easy to use, very intuitive for your instructors, or maybe your admins are the ones that are keeping track of this. Back here. Now, as far as instructor-led trainings, again, there's something else that I wanted to show you that's hard to show in the app, but we do have a contact sharing feature. Now, the contact sharing feature is pretty cool. So this is, let's picture you have multiple classes with somebody, multiple classes with Mike, right? And, maybe you guys want to form a study group. What you can do is you actually have the ability to see, right, when you're in an instructor-led class, you can request to connect with Mike. And if both people accept, what will happen is you all of a sudden see some additional contact information here. Right, so that's not normally information that we outwardly share with people, but if both people agree that it's okay, their user profile will suddenly become a little bit more informative for the learner, so you can share the contact information. In addition to what happens is in your mobile device, you actually automatically will have the information stored, so you won't have to go in and add Mike's mobile number, add Mike's work email, right? And that's all going to be stored in your device for you. So very easily people can swap contact information. Again, really blending, right, the learning style of the traditional learning with exciting new features. So in the world of technology. So really leveraging technology in order to make a more worthwhile experience, right, for your learners that are in the class. Okay, there's just one more thing I want to show you here, and that is looking at some of the settings. So not a terribly exciting page, but I do just want to walk you through some of the features because I think a lot of these are important features to people. So just a couple of things, right? People obviously have the ability to change the language, right? If they're looking at this from China and they want to read in Chinese, right? They have the ability to change the language of the mobile app itself. And then I told you, right, it supports multi-currency, right? So if I want to pay in euros, right, I have the ability to switch my currency to do that. We also have some options as far as, for instance, calendar sync. So, right, it's important to a lot of people. I know if something's not on my calendar, I probably am not going to make it, right? So, calendar sync, what that allows you to do is anything you've registered for, you have the ability to come in and automatically sync those things to any of the calendars on your phone. So that might be your work calendar, that might be a personal calendar, it might be both calendars, right? So you can very easily select that information and actually have that happen automatically. You also have the ability to delete downloaded content. So we talked about offline content, right? If you want to free up some space on your phone, because right, that would be stored on your local device. You have an option. So as soon as you watch something and something is marked complete, you can actually have that automatically deleted. So you don't even have to do that or worry about that as a learner. So just a couple of key features there that I like to make sure I mention. Okay, so let's go back here. And now I'm not sure, I haven't seen if there's any questions coming in, so let me refer back to you, Gordon. That was pretty much a comprehensive look at a lot of the features that we have in the mobile app today, but would love to hear your feedback and or questions if there's anything else that you guys want to see.
Yeah, Holly, we've got quite a few questions, and I'll go through those in just a second, but first I wanted to let everybody know that when you exit GoToWebinar today, a brief survey will pop up, so we definitely encourage you to let us know what you liked about the webinar and let us know what we can do to improve future webinars. And also, if you'd like to reach out to us directly or schedule a personalized demo, ExpertusONE Mobile, please contact us at the information you see on the screen or give us a call at that toll-free number as well. Before we start the questions, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what your responses were. I asked everybody at the beginning of the webinar, where is your company at with mobile learning? And got a really wide diversity of answers, everything from we haven't started yet to we've been doing it for 2 years and very successfully. I would say that the average answer, and there was about 15 or 20 people who responded to this, I'd say that the average answer is we're just getting started with it. There's even somebody who said that they had just started and they turned their first course into a mobile-focused course, and then they found out that something they did on that made it to where it wasn't a responsive design anymore, and so they had to redo 1,000 slides on that mobile course, which was not pretty. Nobody was happy that day, I'm sure. But anyway, definitely a learning curve, and that's what we've seen too from Expertus's point of view. And what we found is everybody wants to get there with mobile, but it seems like content is the big challenge. Actually getting content that works well on a mobile device. It's certainly easy to just put content on a mobile device. It's just a smaller screen in some cases, but making it optimized is another challenge. What we encourage people to do, training organizations should adapt things to at least be accessible via mobile and not worry too much about it making it perfect for mobile, because that's just an incredibly time-consuming thing, and it's one of those things that will never really get done unless more resources than you can imagine are put into it. So anyway, just wanted to give everybody some input on what you said. And now I'll go ahead and jump in with the questions. So the first question I have for you, Holly, is the question was, does offline sync work with SCORM also? I guess they're saying, does offline sync in ExpertusONE Mobile work with SCORM?
Yeah, so yep, the way that offline sync works, so you can use that with any of your web-based content. So that would be for forum objects. So we support 1.2 in 2004, AICC, that could be PDFs, that could be PowerPoints. So any of those objects that kind of allow the self-paced. And then on the video side, it would be MP4 files. But yes, it does work with forum.
Okay. Next question is, can you see leaderboards, I guess gamification leaderboards, on the mobile app?
Good question. So you can see the points, but today the leaderboard widget is not on the mobile app, but I would assume not a far cry, right, as far as all the widgets go. Most of them are on there. So the point values are available in the user profile, just not the full leaderboard.
Okay. So the next question is, can you launch a class within a training plan from the catalog?
From the catalog. So as long as the class is not marked as, so we do have an option, so for those who don't know, right, we have classes and then we have training plans. So classes are scheduled instances of courses, right, and those courses make up the training plans. We do have an option where you can mark a class as dedicated to a training plan. So I know, sorry, some of this is a little bit in the weeds, but essentially if the class was marked as dedicated to the training plan, you would not be able to mark that. But if it was open, right, and just out there available as outside of the training plan and within the training plan, then yes, you'd be able to launch it. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so next question was, can you please show us where to access assessments for a course?
Yes, I can. One second here. Let me click back. And hang on, I might just have to reconnect here. So assessments, and let me see if I can find a class that has the assessments attached. That will be the first part. But yes, you can fully access assessments from the mobile app. So your users, that means, right, that your users can not only see the assessments, but you can also see that people have taken assessments, right, as an instructor or as an administrator. Just one second here.
Okay.
Coming back up.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, there was another question that came in that I'll answer. That question was, what are the challenges that you've seen with moving courses to a mobile format? We talked briefly about that. I'd be curious to hear from you what challenges that you've seen moving to a mobile format. So if you could just answer that in the question tab there, that would be great. So what are the challenges that you've seen with moving courses to a mobile format? Okay, Holly, whenever you're ready.
Right. And as you guys are doing that, so essentially what I did is this one doesn't have an assessment attached, but I can show you this is exactly where you do it because you can see a survey here, so it would be an assessment. So essentially what I did, in case you guys didn't see, is I went to my Learning tab. So right, these are classes that I'm currently registered for. And then within that, I actually clicked into a class. I could see the class details here, right? You can see the full description, right, if I want to view all that information. This little list is up at the top, so the 3 dots. Whenever I click that, I have more options. So from here, if there was an assessment, I could just go ahead and launch the assessment, or from this view, right, I could launch this is a survey, right, I could launch that. So it would look very much like this, and I could go through and take the assessment right on my mobile device. So it would look very similar to this. This is a survey, but you get the idea, hopefully.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, another question, and this is a fairly long one here. Is Expertus going to have a learning path for learners? And for example, a new employee is required to take a series of modules. The current Expertus offers a catalog of all the modules instead of tying all the modules together into a path. Learning path ensures the learner takes all the modules in a correct order, then skipping one module to another.
Yeah, so we actually, Yeah, we do actually offer that. So there's there's a couple of different ways that you can set up your catalog, but we do have this concept that I was just mentioning of training plans. So there are a couple of different types of training plans. One is actually called a learning plan. So there's a learning plan, a certification, and a curriculum, and really they all just have kind of different specifications, right? So whether it's something that has a due date, something you need to recertify on, or maybe it's just a group of courses that make sense to put together. But think of a training plan as a bundle, right? So meaning you register for this one training plan and you're going to register for all of these trainings. In there, you also have additional options where you can enforce the order of them, right? You have to take course 1 before 2, before 3, before 4, right? So you can absolutely do that as well. So the way that training plans work, really it just tracks the completion holistically, right? You can say, okay, this person is 25% done, 50% done, 75% done, etc. So we do actually support that today.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we have time for one more question, and that is, what types of devices are learners using to take e-learning courses these days? Is it smartphones or tablets?
We see both, and I think it depends a lot on the company. Because a lot of the times, right, there'll be organizations that issue out mobile devices, and sometimes, they'll issue a tablet, right, to every employee. Or, if they have blue-collar workers out in the field, right, they'll issue cell phones, right, to everybody out there so they can use that for both, work and business, right? So we actually see a lot of both. So in case I didn't mention it, right, I know I mentioned it's Apple and Android, but we're compatible, right, on the different size devices as well. So think of your real estate on your screen as just growing. So it would work exactly the same. Your real estate and kind of what you're viewing would just be a little bit larger. So as far as what we see mostly, I would have to say we see a lot of both for people that use our mobile app. It's just dependent on kind of the company policy, since people are still kind of working through how mobile is going to work for their organization.
Okay, great. I have one more quick question, and it is, can you customize the widgets on the home screen?
So down at the bottom here, so these today are standard. So as far as these are kind of some of the standard widgets that we offer. So on the mobile app, these are the standard widgets: your profile, your highly rated, your top registered for, right? Those are the standard widgets that are currently available on the app.
Okay, thank you, Holly. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for attending today. Really do appreciate this. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to spend some time one-on-one with you. And also to let everybody know that we are going to be sending a recording to you. And so if there's anybody else in your organization you want to share with this, definitely feel free to do so. Send it out to whoever you would like. So that's it for me and Holly. Thanks again for your time, and have a great day.
All right, thanks everyone.